Narcissism is actually a psychological diagnosis. And so we've adopted this in our society to label anyone that we think is over the top selfish. The classic definition of somebody who's experienced narcissism in their life or has somebody in their life that they would label a narcissist inherently is so selfish that every decision they make goes through the filter of how this impacts me, and they're constantly trying to manipulate their world to serve themselves. And that is, when I listen to somebody talk about the narcissist in their life, it is inherently that, right? At the cost of other people. That behavior is in almost every human being. It's just simply a gradient scale of extreme, right? It's egoic consciousness. There's an old saying, two egos will never meet. And it's entirely true, right? Two egos will never meet because the only thing an ego can see is itself. If we were really being honest about most of humanity is very obsessed with itself, right? And I'm not saying these are one and the same thing, but what happens then is we adopt these terms and they get super overused, especially in social media, and the actual meaning of the word gets lost. I had a coaching client that referred to his wife as a narcissist. And the first thing I asked is, well, do you have a diagnosis? And he looked at me oddly like, what do you mean? Like, did she actually get diagnosed a narcissist? He's like, no. Like, okay, so you're using a term to describe somebody who is insanely, in your opinion, insanely selfish and manipulating the world for their own gain. Yes, got it. But then when somebody really deals with narcissism, it's such a term that is overused that I'm always very hesitant to go anywhere near that word for that reason. It's thrown around so much and it's used as a way to beat somebody over the head that we don't like what they're saying, or we think they're being manipulative, or we think they're being selfish. But if we're being really honest, that is most of humanity. Most of humanity, currently about 83.6% of humanity, is egoic in its understanding of the world. It's interpreting everything through what is best for itself. Some people are frankly a hell of a lot better at it than others. And sometimes we resent them for being really good at it. Until human consciousness elevates, which we are in process of doing, most of humanity is focused on itself, most of the time.